and welcome to the Yerky Boys. May the Kandrona shine and strengthen you. My name is Will.
My name is Jonathan.
And we are
the Yerky Boys. Why was that not? We were in the same room and you fucked it up.
Yeah. Listen, it's tradition that it not be in sync.
Okay, it's Backstreet Boys?
Right. Yeah, I didn't want to do the wrong boy band just because we were in the same place.
I get it. You know who would make a great boy band?
Who?
Jake, Tobias, and Marco.
Wow. I think you're right about that.
The cute one, the bad boy, and the straight man.
Mm-hmm. Well. Do you think Tobias would be in his human form, or do you think he'd be like doing like "Sears" in the background of the song?
Oh yeah, he's like the DJ with the
right.
That's his like okay.
Yeah, he's the hype man.
Hi everybody, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, we're finishing up the Andalite Chronicles. We've been at this a while now, and we are on the last part. An alien dies.
It really is when you're reading a book for 3 weeks. I mean, I read a lot of books for longer than 3 weeks in my normal life, but for some reason for this podcast, it really feels like, we've just been living in this world for a long time.
Yeah, you mentioned last time how you're starting to miss the regular Animorphs, and I was thinking about that. It's been a long time since I've actually read any Marco or Jake.
It's going to be another 2 weeks.
It's going to be more because we've got a fun little non-book episode coming up after this one. A little spoiler for the next week. For you.
A little spoiler.
Yeah. It'll be fun. You'll enjoy it.
Well, we can't waste time today because we have a hard out. We have we have an appointment.
Yeah.
We have to go, so we can't fuck around.
Right, like we're doing right now. Order of business before we start here, and it's relevant to the book. There's a thing about this book that I should have brought up in episode 1. I was going to bring up in episode 2, and I've just been forgetting it every single time, and that is the flip book at the bottom. The little part where it flips. So normally down there you'd get a morph, right? You'd get, if whatever Tobias is turning into a bird, you'll get a boy at one end and a bird at the other. And, as you flip the pages, you see him morph into a bird. We don't talk about these often, but they've been there in every book other than Megamorphs.
Mm-hmm.
So in this one, we don't see a morph. We see a little story being told.
Wow.
If you flip it, you'll see in the beginning there's a Skritna ship, a flying saucer, and it is flying around. And then up comes an Andalite fighter and chases it. Skritna ship flies off, and the Andalite ship flies to a bunch of planets with some moons. And then in the end, the moons kind of phase off the page, and the ship comes back, and it shoots into a black hole or vortex or something. Now, in the last 2 podcasts, that's what I've been referencing at the end, when I was like, a ship flies around some planets, a ship goes into a black hole. It wasn't a cover, it was the flip book, because we'd already talked about the cover. But that should have been clear, and I don't think it ever was, so out of the way, we've discussed it. We know what it is.
Do you have any idea how many people just breathed a huge sigh of relief?
Yeah. Everyone was very confused. They couldn't keep track of what was going on.
4 weeks now, America was in crisis. What the fuck is he referring to?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
That's not on the cover.
Now you know.
Thank God. It was the flips.
It was the flips.
Which I can't see.
Now, I thought you said you pulled up a...
Sometimes they're on Seropedia.
Well, you know what? Here.
I have the covers. I just don't have the flips.
Okay, well, I'm here in person. I want you to just do a quick flip. Just the listeners can hear the flip happen.
How come some of these pages are stuck together?
Well, that was the pages where, we got the taxons.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of fun. Yeah, it's pretty fun. It all connects together.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. That's pretty cool.
There you go. Now you've experienced it.
Well, that was pretty fun. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
I hope the listeners enjoyed experiencing it too.
Aren't you glad? I came all the way over here just so that he could see that.
Yeah, that was basically what that was.
Yeah.
Well, now we can get to the cover of the book.
Right. The third cover.
The third cover.
Yes. So this is an extreme close-up of Elfangor's eye.
In each cover, we get closer and closer to his eyes.
We're zooming in here. But in this one, we see reflected back at us the Animorphs.
Whoa!
Whoa! Like how the series started.
Whoa!
Mm-hmm. They look...
kind of like the Tarantino shot, from the trunk of the car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. I'm just looking at their poses and their style, and I'm like, this is a TV show opening, right? Like, was this a shot from the TV show opening that they drew? This looks like, or maybe it's like a musical group. This is the boy band shot.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Marco's basically doing the B-boy stance. And
yeah,
they look cool as hell. Those are some cool-ass kids.
I agree, 100%. Rachel does not look particularly stylish, though. Maybe I just don't understand fashion.
Yeah, because she looks like a goddamn supermodel to me.
Okay.
Looks like she just stepped out of a J.C. Penney.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, don't ask me about fashion. I wouldn't know.
But is that... I actually thought... So that's Jake in the front, in the button-down?
I assume it must be, right? Because the guy behind him's like got his like kind of hiding behind him, got his hand on his shoulder. That's got to be Tobias, right? Tobias is not up front at first. He's like interested.
Yeah, I assumed that in the front was Tobias. They kind of look the same on this cover.
Yeah, that's why he was supposed to be blonde.
But why he's blonde at this point? Why doesn't she just draw him fucking blonde?
No, he stopped being blonde as soon as they got the model for book 3.
The only reason I realized this because, Jake would be in the front. He's the leader, but,
right? Yeah.
But they look identical. I associate that whatever Jake's hair is doing on this cover looks more like Tobias' hair to me.
I feel you. I feel you. And they basically have almost the same hair.
Yeah, they're the same kid, I think.
I guess Tobias's part is a little more to the side, which makes it look a little more like emo, so that sort of fits.
Yeah.
This predate. Well, but we all know what Tobias is.
A little more feathery.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I like that Marco has a watch, because I'm a watch guy myself.
Makes sense. Marco's got some forearms on him.
Yeah, like gorilla-like.
Yeah.
Now, the name of this part... I think I'm done with the cover.
I think so too. Yeah.
Shockingly.
Yeah, I think I'm ready to be. Mm-hmm.
It's called An Alien Dies. Is that referring to Elfangor at the beginning of the books? Is that the alien who dies?
I mean, we don't know. Maybe it's from Elfangor's perspective. Maybe Lauren's gonna die, right?
Wow.
Maybe that's what it means. No, I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it refers to Elfangor dying.
Okay.
At the
All right, I just wanted to that's what I figured, but it wasn't really. It's not the most.
I don't know for sure either.
Yeah.
I mean, what was Alaran's choice exactly?
Great question.
What he didn't. I mean, it was Elfangor who knocked him out. I don't know.
His choice was. Yeah, it really was Elfangor's choice. What was his choice?
Yeah,
life
to try to kill the Yerks or something.
Is he pro? What was part 1 called?
Pro shipper Elfangor's journey.
Okay, I mean that's okay.
Yeah, that's this whole book. Though.
Yeah, that is the whole book. Well, I want to talk about that at the end. We'll get to that. At the end.
That's good. I'm glad you got something to say at the end.
Yeah.
All right. So before we move into the book proper, I'll do a little recap. And by way of recap, I'm going to quote the Goofs and Inconsistencies section of Seropedia here.
Oh, I like this.
Which says, at the end of part 2, the Jahar emerges from Z-space and witnesses a space battle between several Andalite ships and a group of living asteroids. The Visser boards the Jahar, and one of the asteroids begins to swallow the ship. But at the beginning of part 3, all the living asteroids are gone, and the Jahar is now falling toward a previously unmentioned black hole. This inconsistency is never resolved or addressed in any capacity. That's where we are in the book.
Is that? I just thought the asteroids just left and there was a black hole there.
Yeah, I mean, as a kid, I never noticed this. I was just like, yeah, they're in a nebula that has a black hole and there's living asteroids and I guess, I don't know.
These Seropedia editors are nerds.
I mean, thinking about it though, if I actually had to wait for these 2 parts to be released, yeah, part 2 mentions a nebula and asteroids. And part 3 does not mention asteroids or a nebula. It's just a black hole. It's like the space dust that made up the nebula has become the space dust that's being sucked into the black hole, and there's just no... Like, I see, once this is pointed out, I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I
But-
agree that the asteroids we already said are nonsensical.
Yeah, like we don't, and
But
I like that they're there, but it is crazy. Like, we never hear anything about this again for the entire rest of, like, they're just in this one scene. That's it.
yeah. I'm surprised they don't have a name.
Yeah, we'd have to see them. Anyone would have to know what they were to have named them.
I guess we can.
Yeah, you already said they were like the Knids. So
Yeah.
that's just what they'll be now.
Okay. All right. This is exciting. I think we're going to get through this one quick today.
Yeah, we already
But
are.
we're not going to shortchange our listeners. They're going to get a good meaty helping of meat.
Wiggling my eyebrows over here.
Yeah. Groucho Marx over there.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we are.
That's where we are.
There is a hole blown in the Jahar and they're suffocating.
Jahar!
Mm-hmm.
Go on. I'm just adding color to the background.
Okay, good. You're my hype man now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're all suffocating. And Elfangor manages to hit an emergency panel and restore air and seal the hull before they die with Lauren's help. There's a little bit of a scene where they do that. So, but they're still, even though they've got their emergency power, they can breathe, they're still falling toward a black hole. And they can't get out because the ship doesn't have power. So Lauren and Elfangor and Visser 32, who is still here, and Chapman, who's unconscious, I guess, they only have one way out of this situation, and that is to use the time matrix.
Mm-hmm.
But it's outside the ship, so they have to do a spacewalk and work together to use it. So Elfangor goes out to get it. Visser 32 is guiding the tether, and they only have one shot because once they open the doors to go out, they won't have air again, and their air hoods only last 5 minutes. It's this whole thing. And Elfangor is going to be the one to go out and do it because he can be trusted not to use it immediately because he won't leave Lauren behind. And Alaran knows that they got like a thing for each other, so Visser 32 knows that. So he goes out, does a spacewalk, hitches it up, and they pull it back inside. Fun little intro scene. This feels more. We're still like sort of in the realm of like, I don't know the word for it, but like high sci-fi in a way, like realistic, like there we have to do a spacewalk. Oh, there's zero gravity. Oh, how do I maneuver and get the air? It feels more grounded than some of the other stuff at this point.
Yeah, I believe I know low fantasy versus high fantasy is when it's low is when it's like on Earth, and high is like Lord of the Rings. It's in a completely different universe.
Gotcha.
I think we were probably looking for hard sci-fi.
That is probably what I'm looking for. Hard sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not quite that because it's still a little like doesn't quite work, but like there are descriptions of like how he's tapping in zero gravity in order to move since you can't push off things or that kind of thing.
Well, I'd like to read a passage from the beginning of this part.
Yes, please.
And when I do, I'd like you to imagine that you don't know anything about Animorphs.
Okay. If you just came into this.
Or maybe you had read the first Animorphs book and that's all.
Okay.
And just listen to this, the opening of this part.
Yes.
My life was a disaster. I had failed in so many ways. Failed to save Arbron from being trapped forever in Taxon Morph. Failed to stop the Yerk called Visser 32 from stealing the body of my prince, Alaran Senator Koras. Failed to defeat the surprise attack of the living asteroids. And worst of all, I had failed to deliver the time matrix to my people. The time matrix, power beyond imagination. This sounds like what you do on a TV show when you're making fun of sci-fi. This is when Sheldon on Big Bang Theory is like talking about his favorite sci-fi story, and they're all like, "You fucking nerd."
Well, this is why all the like spacewalk tether stuff feels so grounded, because the rest of it is all that.
Yes, relative to this. Like I said it in part 2 as well, but man, it is so fucking crazy. Like, it's just a nonstop batshit terminology that, like, I can't even believe how.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it before. The Chronicles books are K.A. Applegate's excuse to just go absolutely hog wild, right? Like this is where all of the Chronicles books are where things just get crazy, and she does all the stuff that, maybe it's a little too much for the regular Animorphs books. The Megamorph, she also goes crazy in the future, but it's not the first one, but the other one she will, but not in a way that is ever meaningful to the plot. Whereas all this is like important. Like all of this is like foundationally important to the series that this is happening.
Yeah, you do need to know that stuff. But I mean, it's I do like the trope of the, we got to work with the bad guy. Yeah. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things in fiction, when it's like, you have to work with your enemy, and it's like, when will the alliance break?
Right.
Except in this case, it's like, it's fucking, he's gonna break it.
Yeah,
in a second.
It'll happen to me. Like the whole thing is like, well, you can't even start because Visser's gonna use the instant he touches it. The only reason they managed to work together is because Visser 32 is just like, well, he's got to bring it back because he wants to get with Lauren, and then maybe I could kill him once he gets back with it.
I do think that Visser, and I just call him Visser because it's like, it's too. Whatever his number is, doesn't matter.
It's great. You could call him Visser 3 if you want. I'm trying to be accurate, but it is Visser 3.
I think he would get along with Alaran. I think they actually would be buds. He says when he's talking about it, like how he's seeing in his head, he's like, he thought you were a fucking loser just like me.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's like, he's 100% right about you. You're like a weak idiot. You don't fucking... I do also like that this whole spacewalk plan is made by the Visser because he's like using Alaran's knowledge. It's like, well, how are we going to do it? Well, I know how I'm going to tether you because Alaran knows the parts on a ship. Oh, we've got these air hoods. Who knows that? Alaran knows that. I enjoy that.
Alaran knows that.
Yeah, Elfangor couldn't have figured this out because he doesn't know what's all
dummy.
Here.
Yeah.
Not his ship.
So it's a good thing that Visser 3 is in Alaran's head.
Yeah, they wouldn't have made it.
The technology, by the way, of these clear plastic bags that slip over your head and tie at the neck.
Yeah. And they say that not only do they have breathing gases, they say they have additional gases of some unspecified type that help prevent decompression. They also do say that they're designed for Andalites, so Lauren is not doing too good by the end of this. Like, they specifically say she's in far worse shape than them because the decompression gases don't work as good for human physiology. Now, I don't know what the hell any of that could possibly be in like a physical sense, but that's what it is.
I just love that she felt the need to. It could have just been, it's a helmet, like she just. But no, she had to invent another goddamn thing.
More things.
It's they would like this in the movie version because that's a trope that always annoys me in sci-fi movies when the people in space, they make it so their helmets are completely transparent or they just don't wear a helmet because you always want to see the actor's face in the movie. But it's like that. That's why you get scenes like Prometheus where they're just walking around with their helmets.
Or like, in that one terrible movie, The Last Jedi with Leia in space. You remember that scene.
Yeah, right. We'll get back to Last Jedi later.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it in here. I don't remember where, but I'm pretty sure it is explicitly referenced. Oh yeah, no, I remember where it is. Okay.
We might have already referenced that in an earlier because I think we knew about that.
I think we did, yeah.
But anyway, we'll get to it.
Yeah, I remember. It's in, Anyway, so the other thing.
No one's ever really gone
about this whole plan that I really appreciate is that, we spend the whole book basically saying like, well, you can't use the time matrix, right? Terrible idea to use the time matrix. Who knows the repercussions of going through time, and what if the Elamists get mad? But like, as a reader, right, you're sitting there like, but I want him to use the time matrix. When are they going to use the time matrix? So, like, at the end, of course, they could drive some way where the only way out is the time matrix.
This is like the classic, is it? I don't know if it was Joss Whedon who said this. Sorry, it's problematic. But talking about the Avengers and how like the problem with Hulk is that the Hulk's entire character is that he doesn't want to be the Hulk, and all the audience wants is for him to be the Hulk.
Right.
So you're just like directly at odds with the character. Yeah, so there's maybe a little of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe think of it. It's a tangent. What can I say?
I see where you're coming from. It makes sense to me.
The neurons in my brain made that come out, and now you had to hear it.
Mm-hmm. That's what you're here for, is the neuron talk.
I'm here for references to Marvel comics.
I need your references. You really fill out my reference repertoire, because I'm always
Your
honing
repertoire?
in my repertoire.
Repertoire?
For me, I'm just kind of sitting here saying, like, I got to have at least one Avatar or Dark Tower per
yeah.
episode. So as long as I can hit that checkbox, I'm okay.
I got another reference for you.
Uh-huh.
This next part reminds me of the movie Gravity.
I didn't see that, but it's on my list. I think I have it downloaded.
Well, you can't see it in 3D, so
No, I can't.
that sucks.
Just for the listeners, my eyes are all fucked up, so I can't see 3D.
He's got fucked up eyes.
I got fucked up eyes, what can I tell you?
He can't appreciate the majesty of Alfonso Cuarón's.
And that should tell you something about how fucking good Avatar is, that I'm a Na'vi head, even though I can't even see it in 3D.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, anyway.
Yeah.
It's
not that he has no depth perception. He just can't see.
Yeah, I mean, right now I don't, because I got surgery on one of my eyes.
They don't need to hear your life fucking story. Let's just continue.
It makes me feel kind of like an Andalite in human form, because half my eyes are gone, you know? Like when Axe doesn't have his stalks. He's like, I can't see behind me.
Makes you feel like an Andalite in human form. That's cool. That's a cool way of looking at it.
Yeah.
That's like what you'd say to a little kid.
Makes me feel like a cool guy instead of a loser. All right.
Yep.
So they're going to use this time matrix. Elfangor he's back. He's got the time matrix. They've got like 30 seconds of air to spare. You know, the Visser clearly wants to kill him, but like there's zero gravity. They're like not prepared to tail fight. So both of them lunge at the time matrix simultaneously to try to use it first, right? Because I guess it responds to touch. They say it does here. I don't think
Elfangor knows that somehow.
Yeah, they've never mentioned how they use it before, but it says here it responds to touch.
Well, I thought at some point he was just like, well, it doesn't have any buttons, so I guess you touch it or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But the Visser knows it too. I don't know. But they do it. They both go up and touch to it. And as Elfangor connects to it mentally, the universe, quote, opens up like a piece of fruit that has been exploded into its segments, unquote. So everything feels like it looks fragmented in pieces, but like all the pieces are connected to each other, not like physically, but like in insane convoluted ways that make no sense, and you know they're beyond mortal comprehension. You know, like he can see the Star Sword and the Taxon homeworld and like every place that the Jahar has ever been in every one of the Jahar's components, for example. He can see all of Alaran's and Visser Two's memories and emotions. Like he sees the moment when Alaran made the decision to do the Hork-Bajir thing on the world. The quantum virus on the Hork-Bajir world. There's a part where he can literally see his own brain observing his own brain observing his own brain, you know, recursively. It's some crazy shit.
Okay. $10 word over there. Nobody's impressed.
Oh, I just figured out what word it was. I was like, what the fuck word did I use? So, you know, Visser 32, like, asserts his will. They have a will battle, like in Avatar The Last Airbender, different Avatar than the one I normally do here, but that's okay. And, you know, he's trying to bring it to the Yeerk homeworld. Elfangor is bringing it to the Andalite homeworld. He keeps accidentally mixing in images of the cigarette ads while he's doing it.
He really loved those cigarette ads. He really
loved those cigarette ads. And as they're fighting to control it, their bodies are dying. And the Yeerk is dying slower because he's in Alaran's skull. So Elfangor's losing. But then Lauren, who is still somehow conscious, comes up and holds off. She adds to the fight and holds off Visser 32 with their own images of Earth. And the Time Matrix begins moving them through time. And as Elfangor passes out, the last thing he senses is a vast, incomprehensible being watching them do this and laugh. It's a crazy fucking scene.
Yeah, we go full on interstellar Inception kind of.
Right. It's the 2001 part that's just 10 minutes of colors.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yes, just MC Escher.
Yeah.
Wild shit occurring. And so, apparently we learned that touching the time matrix kind of turns you into like the one. Kind of like the Matrix.
Yeah, okay. I could see that.
Well, that was because he said, like,
the code.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You can see like how everything works in the universe.
Yeah.
Except also there's, well, I mean, was my, I think we pretty much confirm it later on, but the being that we hear laugh, I was like, it's either an Elamist or God.
Right, yeah.
Or it's just there's God now.
Yeah. We never really get above an Elamist in this. Like there's Elamist level things running around. But they did say in like book 7, they say something like, whoever this Elamist is, he's got Elamists too, and the Elamist is like, haha, that's funny. He likes that. So like I think there's an implication that there could still be a god.
Yeah, do the Andalites believe in an afterlife? Do they bury their dead? Do they like what are their rituals?
I mean, they have rituals.
Do they have religion?
The ritual of forgiveness. I'm trying to remember any reference to Andalite religion. Maybe that was too spicy.
Well, because the Yerks kind of worship their sun, right?
That's true.
Kind of.
They're sun worshippers, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe that was just the...
It never comes up again, really, that they're Kandrona worshippers, but they... like, it clearly... I don't know. I feel like she...
But may it shine and strengthen you.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I worship the Kandrona.
I don't really still, fully understand. I mean, look, this is the thing when you get into time travel. And the time matrix even goes beyond time travel.
Yeah.
It's like...
Yeah, we're going to find out about that. But the time matrix is so much more.
There was something about, like, he can't leave Lauren behind. Like, that was the whole thing, is he would come back because he doesn't want to leave anyone behind.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know. It seems like with the time matrix, you could just bring someone. Like, it kind of does whatever you want. There's just a lot of things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he goes up and tries to use it. Like, Lauren's not touching it when he first tries to use it. So it's not like he's doing any better than he would have been. Like, she comes up midway through. Yeah, I don't see why he couldn't just use it to bring her.
I mean, they don't know how it works.
Yeah. I mean, but he's looking at the fabric of reality here. He must be able to bring someone with him. How hard can this be?
They do leave Chapman behind.
They do leave Chapman behind. Yeah.
Is there even, like, I don't think they even discuss it. They're just like they just assumed he's staying.
It comes up at the end of the book, but like, yeah, no, Chapman is just not brought with them here.
Yeah, like halfway through, like, or the next scene, I was just like, wait, Chapman is where? Like, they don't even care.
Yeah, I guess they were too busy. Maybe Elfangor would have brought him if he weren't battling the Visser here.
If he was a little more fuckable, maybe. But
yeah, that's true.
It's just not. That's all Elfangor cares
Chapman
about.
should have tried whacking him off once or twice while they were in there.
So, what? What?
Mm? I don't.
Huh?
What's?
We're gonna cut that out.
Nah, we'll keep it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
yeah.
I appreciate that. Last book we were saying like this is the most cinematic book because we all these like stark visuals and like big sweeping grand scene, and almost immediately in this book we have this scene that is explicitly impossible to actually visualize. I do like that, right?
Yeah.
Like this is, if you want to portray this visually, it has to be abstract because this goes beyond any sense.
Yeah. I'm saying, like you said, I think all the things I'm seeing in my head a mixture of like a 2001 style Inception, just I don't know, just kaleidoscopes, just shit.
Yeah,
just colors and lights and images fracturing, shit like that. Bodies being ripped apart,
inside out, and I do think it's important to like do some montages of like the history of the universe if you're gonna do that. I don't know. It's a fucking crazy thing.
It's a crazy thing.
But they use it. Elfangor wakes up and he is on the Andalite homeworld. Whoa. Not just the world, but his own home. And we meet his Gariba, or his guide tree, and we see his family's scoop where they
Gariba,
live.
huh?
Gariba? What'd you say?
I was thinking Gariba.
I like Gariba. That's like Haribo.
It was a bit like that.
Yeah, eat your Haribo under the Gariba. And so anyway, he starts running home toward his scoop, and then he sees the waterfall from the cigarette ad, just kind of standing there in the middle of his home. Like there's just a cliff randomly there, just stuck in there, water flowing from like nowhere to nowhere, I guess. So he gets up on a hill and he looks out, and he sees the first thing he sees that the sky is jigsawed patches of red and gold, which is the Andalite homeworld, blue and white clouds, which is Earth, obviously, and green filled with lightning, which presumably is the Yerk homeworld. So somehow, instead of going anywhere in time and space, they've ended up in some conglomeration of all the places they wanted to go put together. Something has happened. It's going around.
Something's happening.
Yeah, when you go from like one zone to the other, like Earth or Andalite or whatever, there's like a sharp line dividing the area, right? Where it's like this area has Andalite terrain and then this area has Earth terrain, right? Like there's no bleed over or anything like that. The lightning from the Yerk skies doesn't cross into the Andalite skies or whatever. So Elfangor heads back to the waterfall because it's the tallest thing around, and he finds Lauren. She's here too, and the Visser also is there. He also shows up, so they've all come together at this meeting point.
Come together.
But yes, this is where things really get wild.
yeah, they're in. This part feels like it would be a good video game. It feels like you got a lot of room for platforms floating in the air. You can
It's true.
And like different environments that you gotta like trek through that will change.
Maybe you should be a game developer.
I'm such a dumb idiot.
And
dumb fucking. What's your critical analysis of this book? Make a good video game, I think. That's what I think. I should have a podcast. People could hear about that.
I mean, I happen to agree with you, so
Did you play Psychonauts? I know you haven't. But
no, I haven't. I'm not a gamer.
Yeah, it feels like maybe like a Psychonauts world. Just crazy. It kind of is. Psychonauts is like you go into people's brains, and it's like the world in their head is created by like their fractured memories and perceptions. And I feel like sometimes you do like people's brain worlds get mixed up in Psychonauts, and that's kind of what this feels like.
That's not that dissimilar since that's what was happening in the Time Matrix before all this shit happened.
We have to talk about there's some good, we're on the Andalite homeworld for the first time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not actually the Andalite homeworld, but it's close enough. A facsimile.
Yeah. Or maybe we don't know yet. Maybe it is. Maybe the Time Matrix literally broke reality.
Yeah, well, we kind of find out.
Know.
It kind of sounds like they maybe created a new reality.
Like it doesn't. That seems to get more explicitly, maybe not explicitly, but more answered later. But I do think there's like at this point you could be reading it and think, did they ruin everything? Like, did they ruin everything? What happened?
Yeah, it's strange. But I want to talk about all these fun new little things we learned.
Oh, yes. These are some things.
I mean, we mentioned the Therent tree.
Named Halafala. That's his Gariba's name.
Yeah, right in one paragraph, we learn about Therent trees. Its name is Halafala, and it's his Gariba.
Yes.
Or Gariba, maybe. So this is his guide tree, which I guess every Andalite has one.
I think that's true.
It's kind of like the Tulkun.
I think they're a lot like Tulkuns. Yes, actually, I think they're almost exactly like Tulkuns, except they're trees.
Right. And of course, trees don't speak in words. Only a handful of trees have ever used words.
Yes.
So, I mean...
Yeah, their trees have some level of consciousness that they can commune with their Andalite thought speak telepathy bullshit somehow. But like, there's a scene where he's like dumping on his tree, right? He's not physically. He's trauma dumping on his tree. Listen,
nobody thought you
everyone knew.
meant physically.
he's like telling it everything that happened, and now he feels like a failure, and he's crying to it, and the tree is like offering him emotional comfort back. He's like, the tree can't understand what I say to it, but it can understand my emotions, and it can offer back comfort as an emotion. So like the tree is somehow it's a thing. It's not just any tree.
Yeah, does this tree ever get to share its feelings, or is just there to be a shitty therapist for depressed Andalites?
Yeah. I mean, if it's anything like a Tolkienian tree, it's probably just too slow, right? Its emotions are too slow for us to comprehend. Like, so this is like a little mouse coming and being like, I'm sad, I'm sad, I'm sad, and then you go there, and then it runs away.
Sorry, you said Tolkienian, and I was still thinking about Tulkun, and I was confused for a second. I wasn't sure what you said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like, and it's
Tolkien
Old Man Willow
or something.
Do you think they got evil ones? Do you think there's an Old Man Halafala who's an evil guy tree?
I hope so. Well, I mean, this leads... Well, first of all, poor Axe, he's like walking around Earth trying to talk to trees. It's like, these trees are fucking dumb.
Why didn't they they should have... There's no reason they could have been like, Earth trees can do this too. All trees can do it. We're just too stupid when we go chop them down like the... But Axe has a new guide tree now.
Well, this leads me... I feel like the inevitable question here is, would a Hork-Bajir eat Halafala? And do the Andalites not like Hork-Bajir because they eat trees? Are they like, stop it, you're fucking ripping its skin off?
Well, they are tree tenders, right? Like, they tend the trees, right? And they have all these rules about like, oh, you can't eat this bark because it'll hurt the tree, but this bark is okay to destroy. So like, maybe it would be okay. It'd be like,
there's certain trees that are okay to murder.
Well, no, because it's not murdering them. They're like, this bark will grow back. This bark they need it.
It's like how some humans are born differently than others. So
go on.
So it's okay to murder them?
No. They're like parasites. They don't want to kill their host tree. They're just eating parts of it every once in a while. But they also like help them grow, I guess.
It's like drinking milk from your mother's breast.
Right. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the outside of the tree is like one large breast, and the bark is their
milk. Right? You're drinking your goat's milk. I don't know why I'm not saying a cow, but you're drinking your goat's milk, but you're also raising the goat, You're a friend to the goat.
Yeah. Just that they rip the bark off in such a violent way.
No. It's very gentle the way they slice it.
I'm just wondering if Hork-Bajir have a relationship with trees the way Andalites do.
It's not the same as Andalites. It does seem like no other trees talk is the problem.
Yeah.
They have a relationship with trees, but it's not, they don't talk.
Maybe it's not really a tree in this, like the same way our trees are trees. Maybe... he's calling it a tree, but it's...
I mean, their Darishols look more like asparagus.
I mean, like in Avatar, of course you have the home tree, and like the spirit trees.
Right.
But not every tree is... But everything in Pandora is connected through
Or in the other Avatar, there's the swamp tree, the great tree in the swamp.
Oh. Yeah, my Avatar Airbender memory is not as fresh. I'll have to rewatch it for those... new Nickelodeon movies coming out.
Oh yeah, that's our new podcast.
Those will be, those are, or if you're listening to this in the future, all those old ones,
right,
that are already out,
right. If they came out, if they didn't get canceled.
Oh yeah, they came out.
Okay.
Anyway, also, and then
keep going.
I mean, past the Therans, we've also learned about Scoops.
We do learn about Scoops.
School and the little Hoobers.
Right, Hoobers. I'd forgotten all about Hoobers. Say Hoobers jump on springy tendrils and have comical bulging eyes. I don't know anything else about Hoobers.
They don't actually describe what they look like.
Like a combination of a frog and a spoink from Pokemon, maybe.
That's just your speculation.
That's my speculation.
The little Hoobers. They do have comical bulging eyes.
Yes, the description I said with the tendrils and the eyes was correct. Right. Everything else was...
Yeah, we really need to learn more about hoopers.
Yeah. I need to know more about these hoopers.
And if perhaps you could add a tank at the end of it.
I do want to keep all of my pet hoobers in a tank.
Right.
My hoobers tank.
Your hoopers tank.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right.
And now the scoop.
Yes.
Which Elfangor...
We'll see scoops again.
Oh, good.
Unlike hoopers.
Okay, well that makes me happy.
Yeah.
I did like how he mentions that, back in his day, you had to scoop, you had to dig your own scoop out with your bare hands.
Yeah,
not like these lazy kids today.
Whatever had to,
fucking hand-me-down scoops.
Yeah,
they don't
in
know
the
about
freezing
hard work.
cold.
That's right.
They scoop out a small area of earth and then they put an awning over it just to keep things out of the rain, and that's where they live. They don't have like walls or anything like that, Andalites. That's a standard Andalite home.
Yeah.
A little scoop.
It's funny because even though you just said that, but this whole time I was definitely just picturing a little house like next to the scoop.
Nope, just a little divot with a rain cover.
Usually when I'm thinking about a scoop, I prefer it with some salsa in the middle. Crunch,
Maybe
crunch.
that's where they keep their salsa.
Or maybe a scoop of vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You wanna take a little break and have a snack?
Yeah. Let's take a snack break. All right, we're back.
We're back.
Yum, 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 yum,
Yeah,
yum.
those were some good snacks. We also see a little bit of stuff from the Yerk world here. We see trees that grow only a foot tall and then spread out like 30 or 40 feet wide. I don't know what the fuck that's about.
Doesn't make sense to me.
And we see things that look like 10-foot long tongues that live in holes in the ground, and they sloop out and eat you. They'll just be out of the hole, sloop, out comes the tongue, and it grabs you and eats you.
Yeah, now the slooping tongues are kind of hot.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
It's just a long tongue that comes out of the earth and just gets the slooping in you.
There's a lot of things that are like this in fiction. I don't know if you ever read the Seventh Tower series. But
with the Garth Nix.
Yeah. Do you remember the thing that was just, there were all these creatures, they had like a game, and all the things in the game were real creatures that lived in like the ether world. And one of them was a mouth that just shot out of the ground and ate you. And that was always my favorite, was the mouth that just came out and ate. I don't know if these are like based on eels or if just everybody has this idea.
Have we talked about the Seventh Tower before?
Have we?
I don't. It feels like it must have come up at some point.
Like in this podcast?
No, like in our lives.
I feel like we must have at some point.
Because I loved those books, and
same. It's our next podcast.
Recently, it's probably like 2 years ago now, but when I did like some spring cleaning, and I can't remember. I think I got rid of my copies. I might have kept them though. I might have them.
Yeah, I have mine.
But I feel like no one ever talks about those books or like remembers them.
It is our next podcast.
I love. There's only 7 of them.
There's 6.
Oh, there's only 6.
Yeah, I remember this specifically.
There's fucking 7.
Yeah, exactly. Because the 6th one came out, and I was like, "Oh, cool!" And then I got to the end, and I was like, "Wait, this feels like they wrapped it up. Wait, there's got to be another one coming out, though, right?" I was so upset.
That's fucked up. I love those books.
Yeah, they were great. No, I still have my first 5, and I lost my 6th, but then I bought one at a used bookstore, and so now I have them all again.
Well, okay.
A couple years ago.
Anyway, go check out the Seventh Tower.
Hell yeah, it rules. Maybe it will be. Maybe that'll legit be our next podcast. It'll be a short one.
Just a mini podcast.
Just a mini cast.
That one probably has no mark. There's probably no other Seventh Tower podcast.
Yeah, there's got it. Yeah. I don't know if that's actually an obscure series or not. Like,
I think it is.
I never see anyone talk about it.
No, this was not. It only had 6 books. It couldn't have been done that well. Although I guess it had an ending. I don't know. Yeah. We don't have time to talk about this anymore.
We do not have time to talk about the Seventh Tower. We have to keep going. Do you have anything else to say about the weird sloopers and the hoobers and
just how I thought they were hot? That's all.
Okay, well, there's more weird stuff going up because the Visser showed up with his 2 pet Mortrons. Here.
Yeah, let's get right into
Let's
it.
get into the Mortrons. So yeah, they're all having their standoff, their three-way standoff, and Visser 3 has his pets Jerix and Larix, the Mortrons. They are described as being 3.5 feet tall and 4.5 feet long. They are dirty yellow with black spots, and the head and shoulders are a deep dark red, like the Yerk plants are also deep dark red, so it's the same color as those. They have long, needle-like heads with hundreds of irregularly sized and shaped teeth pointing out of their mouths. And instead of, this is the big part, instead of legs, they have 4 wheels. They're not round exactly, but they're clearly functional. They are biological wheels. So, Lauren throws a rock at the Visser, which and hits him, and so he sends his Mortrons to attack, and they have a big fight. So when the Mortrons attack, I'm going to keep talking about these Mortrons, they split themselves apart, and the top part, the red part with the mouth, flies around, and the yellow bottom part with the wheels chugs along around on the ground, and it goes huff, 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 huff when it does it. And so Elfangor cuts them in half at first, but when he does it, the halves both grow back into full Mortrons. So if you cut a Mortron in half, you get 2 Mortrons, like slimes or something. So Elfangor's like, I can't fight these things without a shredder, and he doesn't have one, so Lauren hops on his back, and they ride off. These things are insane. Like, what the fuck are these things?
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest things we've seen yet. Also, I don't know, Mortrons, I don't know if I was thinking like Mortrons. I don't know what they want. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on the Mortrons.
These are some of the weirdest creatures in all of Animorphs. I can't even say they're the weirdest, but they're some of.
You know how there's, I don't know if we've talked about it much on the podcast, but there are fan-made RPGs based on Animorphs, like tabletop role-playing games in the Animorphs world. Probably they're D&D adaptations.
Yeah, makes sense.
And stuff like this makes me go, oh, I see how you can do that.
Yeah.
There's enough creatures you could populate that way.
Yeah, I mean, this is like this feels like a classic D&D enemy, right?
Well, it has, I mean, it's very similar, as we'll see, I marked down later, but like the gelatinous cube or ooze or whatever from D&D, the whole thing is if you use slashing damage, it'll do this. It'll divide forever. Yeah. You have to like burn it or something to kill it.
Yeah.
It's basically what these things are. Although it does make me wonder though. So in this, it doesn't seem like they ever fuse back together. Like once there's 4, there's 4.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just 4 of them.
So in Visser 32's normal reality back on the Yerk homeworld, does he just have like 64 of Mortrons? Like they just keeps having more?
I don't know. Like
every time they get in a fight,
it doesn't make any sense. There's 2. Like, how the hell do they?
He just has to keep getting bigger and bigger tanks for them.
It takes them like a minute to grow another full Mortron, and then they're just there. Like, this is crazy. Like, if you take something like a starfish, it's taking like weeks to regenerate because that's how long it takes. Because like you can't just pull half the mass of your body out of nothing. But they can do it, and the Visser says there's no stopping. Like, it's not like they can do this once or twice, but then they run out of reserves or something like that. No, they'll just keep going.
Yeah, it's what do they eat? I want to know.
Andalites.
And they also said they tried to take over them as Yerks, but there wasn't enough brain in there or something.
Yeah, it's like their heads are too thin or whatever.
So they're just their pets. So they're like the only free creatures that the Yerks have allied with or something. I feel like these are more like dogs again. I don't know that these are true allies. They feel more like pets to me. I do want to throw this out there. I want to say 3 things in a row to you.
Okay, go.
Juan and Terry, Pete and Dominic, Jerix and Larix.
Those are some good things.
That's the new duo.
Yeah.
The new dynamic duo.
Yeah.
Jarex and Larix.
I did not remember Pete and Dominic.
Oh, I'll always remember
Oh,
them.
good. That's what I need you for.
Jarex and Larix really is one of the funniest.
It's extremely good.
The fact they have names at all and that he made their names rhyme, it's so funny.
Well, maybe it was originally one named Eric's, and he cut it in half.
Every time, every time they split up, does he know which ones are which now?
Yeah, he's got 4 of them now.
That's why I think they have to reform, but later on they aren't.
Yeah, no, he has 4 of them later on. Like, they run away now. They're going to see him again. He'll have 4 of them.
It really raises so many questions that I don't understand, but,
Yeah, still,
I like them.
Still, I'm not going to put these guys as the craziest Animorph species. They're clearly top 3. I can think of at least one more that's just
we might have
way
seen
more
crazier ones already that Visser 3 turned into, honestly.
I guess that's
he's
true,
turned into some weird
sort of.
shit.
He has turned into some weird shit. I don't know that anything is as weird as this that he's done, though.
I mean, we didn't even really discuss their wheels.
No, like...
They have organic wheels.
Yeah, I remember spending a lot of time as a kid thinking about how you're propelling, because they have to be on an axle, right? Like, they can't wind up forever. So the biology of this as a kid fascinated me.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how it would work.
Like, their skin is, do they have a bone in there?
Yeah, they've clearly got some kind
around?
of, ratcheting bone on some muscle. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's crazy.
It's really nuts. It really feels like, I feel like I've said this before, but when I was 8 years old and I was designing my own aliens, like, this is it has wheels. This one,
this is a Pokemon right here. Is what this is.
Yeah,
and the fact that they can split is some Pokedex nonsense that shouldn't really be true, but she made it true here.
Okay. So there's Mortrons.
Yeah, there's Mortrons. There's the bit where Lauren hits Visser 3 with a rock, which I really like.
That is good.
I like he's like, I'm gonna get you, and she's like, blah blah blah, and neither Elfangor nor Alaran have any idea what that could mean. I like that part. They both like look at each other like, fuck, blah blah.
But it is really funny when Visser 3 is just like, what are you gonna do? I'm not scared of you. And she's just chucks a fucking rock in his face.
And he's like, so you propel rocks at me, do you?
They don't know the word throw.
Yeah, I mean, this is a uniquely human skill, the ability to throw with like force and precision, right? The human like shoulder and leg.
Hork-Bajir can't throw something?
Hork-Bajir probably could throw something, to be fair. But like on our planet, it is a uniquely human skill, and Andalites probably shouldn't be able to do it either because of like the biomechanics of their shoulder with their 4-leg base. It's yeah, like they probably just literally, even if their arms were stronger, they just couldn't. Like you'd get a weird lobbing motion. You couldn't really. I do appreciate that she put in a scene where she throws a rock at someone.
It's great, and it works.
Yeah.
He doesn't like catch it with his tail or something.
Yeah, he's like, what the
it
fuck?
Hits him in the face.
Shit.
It's great. It's just like, fuck you, Visser 3. You fucking get a rock in your face, asshole.
It's good. And then, of course, someone had to ride an Andalite eventually. And
I was reading this and I was like, ride that Andalite.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, that is a scene that, like, by the time this book came out, like, at least a dozen fanfics had been written, even though this was the 90s and it was only 8-year-olds reading it. People were like, and then I wrote on my Andalite friend, who was also my boyfriend.
Yeah, it is pretty hot.
Yeah.
I mean, she puts her hand on his rump. That's how he says it.
I like the part where she's riding on him and he turns his stalk eyes to make eye contact with her.
That sounds terrifying to envision. Yeah, you don't want to. If you're the child of an Andalite, they really do have eyes in the back of their head.
Yeah,
you can't.
You're right.
You can't be messing around in the backseat of the car. They're going to be looking back there at you.
In the Mustang,
I saw that. I know who hit who first.
With their tailplate.
Yeah,
who's putting tailblade.
Put tail into them.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
So that's a lot of fun. This scene.
It is a lot of
first confrontation.
This whole freaking part. They so they run away, And they get to an Earth zone that turns out to be Lauren's neighborhood. And they go to her house. And Elfangor, or Lauren takes Elfangor to her house because she thinks her mom's going to be there. And Elfangor is brought in at Lauren's insistence. He's not sure he wants to go in. And lo and behold, her mother is, in fact, there. And Lauren is like, this is Elfangor, don't be afraid, he's a friend. And her mom is like, oh, honey, why would I be afraid? He's just an Andalite. And then that's when Lauren realizes that her mom is not real. She is
Your
like
mother is already dead or whatever.
Yeah, but no, you're right. Her mom's like a weird construct made out of her memories of her mother, right? It knows about Andalites because she does, but it's this weird, off-putting, uncanny valley mother thing. So Lauren has a meltdown and runs off. So this is the other day or other podcast I had said, like, well, next one's the David Lynch one.
Mm.
This is the scene I was thinking of. I imagine this mother's talking kind of like the family in Eraserhead or something, right? Like it's like, no, there's something really, really wrong here.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, it's a bit creepy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit unnerving.
Yeah.
Although I feel like at this point, I mean, I don't know. She shouldn't really expect this to really be her mom. But,
yeah, I mean, in her head, she might have been like, I want to see my mom. So she's like, I probably brought my mom here with me because I wanted to.
Right. Although maybe it is, like we said, maybe this is now her mom. She created a new mom that's real.
She erased the parts of her mom she didn't know about.
Now, there's a lot of, in this section, Elfangor looking at Earth things and trying to understand them.
Yeah, these are some of the more fun parts of this section here.
Well,
to me,
this part I liked. It gave me a little. I feel like I got a little better insight into how Axe probably sees the Earth that he lives on. Sometimes it does get a little difficult to read through descriptions of normal things the way an Andalite sees them.
I love it. I want more.
Sometimes it's just a little much, sort of the rectangle with clear rock in it that I can see through. It's just like, all right, it's a window. It's a fucking window. Just stop.
Elfangor, but I like that Elfangor's like, humans love rectangles. Andalites never use it, but like they got a house which is a rectangle with like a rectangular door. They've got these stairs. I don't know what they are, but they're all rectangles. That must be why they like them so much.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's good. I did like that.
Yeah, he's got a part. He says, I'm going to read this quote. I still don't understand the point of stairs. I guess humans just love anything with straight edges and a rectangular shape. And they allowed humans to place a second level in their houses. This made the house a bigger rectangle, and I suppose this is important in some way.
There's a lot like there's a Louis C.K. bit. Sorry.
You're just
problematic
today.
I'm sorry. But there is one where he talks about how he thinks like humans aren't actually from Earth because we don't like the ground and the outside. We have to make everything just like a perfect flat rectangle with corners and yeah. Kind of like this.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have questions about a lot of things.
Yeah, please.
But also in the same part here, Elfangor is walking through. He's also never seen a carpet before.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very short, pale tan grass. He calls it.
Yeah, he can't eat it. He tries. But he
can't. So this is my question. What determins whether or not an Andalite can eat something with their hooves? Because like technically, I could eat a carpet. It's not. It's not good for me.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
I could
calm down. Calm down.
Okay, I'm calming.
But I could go into the Home Depot and I could take a little square of carpet sample and I could eat it.
Yeah.
It seems like he could stick his hoof as much as he wants. He's not getting anything out of this carpet.
I don't know how easily you could eat a carpet. Like your teeth would not work too well in that, and then you'd have to swallow
a little an inch in diameter, a little carpet
So
sample.
He's got to be able to grind it with his hoof until he can absorb it.
But it seems like his hooves just magically know what has nutrients and just absorb that. And nothing else or something.
Maybe it's like an osmosis thing. Maybe you can't help but eat things.
Which also seems problematic as an Andalite. So yeah, I don't know. But speaking of problematic foods, Lauren's fake mother, offers them some pop and cookies. Now, we don't need to get into... I mean, I'm going to get into first. It's not called pop.
Mm-hmm. Now...
Where the fuck is Lauren from?
Where is Lauren from?
You would think she's from California,
I would
like
think
everyone
that.
else.
Like, yeah, especially...
Where's K.A. Applegate from?
That's a good question.
I never heard her use any, like, Midwest terms before, though, so I don't know where this pop is. Oh, maybe Lauren's mom is moved from somewhere from the Midwest.
That could be. I know people who still say pop because I have Midwestern heritage. My actual parents themselves do not, fortunately. Dodged a bullet. But.
Yeah, Christ. Oh yeah, I guess. I mean, some of my family's from Kansas. They say pop out there. Disgusting. But also, who's eating cookies with a fucking glass of Coca-Cola? That's disgusting.
That is weird. I don't like that.
What is this shit? For a second, I was like, he's going to be into this. He's going to be like, no, I eat cookies and soda all the time. So I'm relieved that you're on my side.
I mean, I don't know. I think you're a lot more sensitive to these kinds of things. Like, I'm not like freaked. I didn't notice this when I read it, but it is like, that's not a good combination.
Pop and cookies?
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
The sweetnesses are just, they're like going to wash out the flavor of the other one, and then it's going to be weird.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like when you're at the movies and you have, like, your Junior Mints or whatever with a Coke, as I often do.
I don't do that.
See, but yeah, it's not. I do it because it's what I've done since I was a child. But at a certain point, you're drinking the Coke and it just like tastes like nothing anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, you might as well have just gotten some Perrier or something healthier for you.
I wouldn't do that.
That makes sense.
You just gotta get the cherry Coke. You make it stronger to get through it. They also have to leave the door open to crack because otherwise they will fuck.
I love that her mom is all like, you leave the door open, you two. It's really
That's
good.
the rule in our house when Lauren has Andalites over to play.
Yeah, she knows how she gets about those Andalites. I also like when she says, just because I'm your mother doesn't mean I'm an antique. I do keep up with things, Miss Modern. We had Andalites when I was your age, too.
Yeah.
Good mom.
Yeah, it's a good mom.
I wish my mom was more like this.
Yeah.
I should fuck her up, put her through a time-space rift, and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's find this time matrix.
Yeah.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
So, is this when we start? He's like going through Lauren's stuff in a room, or are we getting to that next?
Yeah, it's basically here. It makes more sense here, so I have some notes about it in this section.
It stood out to me the one part when he's talking about the bound papers called books or magazines. Mm-hmm. And Elfangor says they're a sort of extremely primitive computer file.
Right, which is the opposite.
That's right. Right.
Of what Axe said.
Yeah, Axe thinks that books are fucking technological wonders.
Axe is just fucking stupid.
I guess Axe is just dumb.
He's a dumb... It is canonically true that Axe is kind of dumb.
We think all Andalites would be impressed by books when it's just one dummy.
Yeah. Axe is, I guess Axe is your stereotypical, like, meathead jock, right? Like, he's thinking too hard about the game and about girls. He wants to go join the army. He's not paying attention in school.
Yeah, he's no exodatologist.
That's right. Not him.
No.
It's just that Andalite jocks are also, like, weird nerd types compared to humans.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What else did you like?
I don't know. Just there were a couple other observations. Lauren's mom has brown eyes while Lauren has blue, and Elfangor thinks, "Ooh, is that a sign of age, or perhaps human eyes turn brown after having children?" It's just some things like that.
Cool.
Yeah, that's we're.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, it's good.
This was around this time when I started thinking, "Wait, where's Chapman?"
Yeah.
I just forgot about him. And I was like, wait, there's a whole other character.
That's K. Applegate, too. Whenever she's not writing Chapman in a book, she says, wait a second, where's Chapman? That's why he's in this one.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
So Elfangor leaves the house. He finds Lauren in a softball field, like throwing balls to herself and hitting them. She's like upset, but she's working on it. She's working it out here. They converse for a bit, and Elfangor suggests that Time Matrix has created an entire new universe just for them, right? Since it didn't know where they wanted to go, right? This is where we sort of posit that idea. And that's why all this shit is all weird, is because it's a new universe. The Time Matrix made its own new universe for them. So Lauren kind of gets this weird feeling. They walk to the other end of the tree line and they see the end of this universe. It's a very small pocket universe here. And the sky and ground and everything, they all stop and they see stretching out before them the vast white nothing of Z-space above and below and everywhere. Lauren reaches out to touch it and her hand bends back on itself, so she's reaching toward herself instead. I don't know if you have anything in particular to say about this scene or if you want to lump it together with the next little thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really, it's like, neat.
Yeah, no, it is a fun thing. I didn't have a ton to say. I kind of imagined it like if you take like a spoon, you see yourself upside down reflected. But if you move your eye really close, you like flip to right side up because you're inside the focal point. But like right as you do the transition, you see yourself like reflected, like move through yourself and flip inside out. That's what I imagine her hand doing. It's like refracting inside out through reality so that it points back at her.
Yeah. Sounds like something out of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, good. Thank you. That's what I need you for, as the Doctor. Yeah. Any other Marvel movies reminds you of here?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
Or, how about this? Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, because that's topical to the recording of this particular episode.
Right.
Because there's a new one.
It'll be out now.
Right now.
It's in theaters now when you're listening to this.
Now, if you're listening to this on time.
Yep.
Yeah, it's also kind of like Portal, in a way.
Huh.
Like if the entire thing was a portal that pointed, I don't know.
Well, Half-Life also has universe or dimension hopping things.
Yeah.
Not really the same.
Yeah, not really. So they walk around the edge of this universe and, they note all the patches are like uneven and irregular, the patches of Yerk and human. Lauren is looking for a grocery store or something because she's hungry. Remember you asked what they were eating?
We find out.
We do find out she's been eating liquefied grass rations. I don't know if she's alive. But so they find a McDonald's. But when they go into the McDonald's, they see that the worker there is this like horrifying monstrosity, right?
There's a cat over there. Sorry, it's cute.
Yeah, he keeps pointing at this
Look
cat.
how cute
he
she
wants
is.
me to look at this cat and start talking about the book. We don't have time.
Just look at her.
We don't have time. I know. I see her.
All right.
they go in. The worker in this McDonald's is this horrifying like monster, right? He looks and talks like a normal guy, but instead of a face, he just has these like overblown acne pustules everywhere. No facial features at all. No eyes, nose, mouth, just acne all over everywhere. We find out in real life this is some teenage boy who has a crush on Lauren, but all she can ever think about every time she sees him is how bad his acne is. So in her head, this is what he looks like. So they get their McDonald's. And Lauren gets her McDonald's and eats it. And Elfangor, looking at the sky, realizes that the patches form a hyper spiral, a shape that makes sense in higher dimensions, but not in 3 dimensions. That's why it looks so weird. And the time matrix should be at the center of the spiral, so that's where they have to go. So this whole little stretch, the edge of the universe to the spiral, we get sort of some sense of what's going on in this universe. And then jammed in the middle of that, we get this McDonald's guy.
You know what else it's sort of like is the Upside Down from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Or I feel like there's other examples where you go to like any a lot of alternate reality another dimension where everything's like pretty similar, but there's a few like weird differences. I mean, there's a lot more weird differences in this one, but
yeah,
vibes of
vibes, that. Yeah. Now, this guy in the McDonald's, I pulled out Seventh Tower earlier, and you recognized that, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I'm going to pull out an even more obscure one. Did you ever read Borgle by Daniel Pinkwater?
You lost me on this one. That name, the author's name sounds familiar.
Okay. Well, he wrote a sci-fi book called Borgle, a kid's sci-fi book. And there's a scene in it where the kid is like, his weird eccentric uncle takes him out like on a trip through space in his and it's like a car is his spaceship. So he's traveling on like an interdimensional highway, but he like loses his uncle and has to stay at a like alien McDonald's on the side of this. And he's there for literal weeks, and the only thing that they serve that humans can eat is like milkshakes. Everything else is like radioactive rocks or something. And the guy who works at the McDonald's is like a weird gelatinous slime monster with greasy hair. And this is what this guy reminds me of. The slime monster at the restaurant, the like road stop
All right.
Borgle.
I'll
recommend you Borgle too.
Check out Borgle.
Go check out Borgle if you get the opportunity. I loved that book as a kid. I thought it was fucking great.
Borgle?
Gel.
Okay. Like a bagel.
Yeah, like a bagel.
Like a guy who's ordering food with something in his mouth. I'm going to get a Borgle and cream cheese.
Yeah, highly recommend that author too, just in general.
What can you name another book that guy? Because I know his name.
Yeah, so I had two things: a collection of 4 and a collection of 5 books. He did Alan Mendelsohn, The Boy from Mars. He did Yabgorgle. He did The Worms of Kukum Lima. He did a series of books called The Snarkout Boys.
I recognize
something called like Fat Men from Space, I want to call it.
I recognize Blue Moose and Return of the Moose.
Ooh, he did the Hoboken Chicken Emergency.
I see that. The Big Orange Splot.
Okay, that I never read.
I see Borgle. Yeah, I see Alan Mendelsohn. Yeah. I don't know that I ever read many of these, but I sort of. Oh, you know what I recognize is this. The one I recognize the most.
Mm-hmm.
It's called It's just a collection of 4 of his novels, and he's on the cover.
Yes. Yeah, this was the one I had that had Borgle in it. I had this one and a collection of 5 as a kid.
I remember that cover
total.
with his weird head on it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we don't have time
to get into
for
this.
This is our next podcast.
We need to talk about how bad I want McDonald's right now, and how how they have the BTS meal. Do
they still?
They did.
Okay,
but what was the more recent one? Every so often a rapper gets a meal.
Why not a Beyonce burger or something?
But it's usually just like. I always get a Big Mac with Sprite. It's like, cool meal, dude.
Yeah. No, wasn't that fucking like Cardi B and Offset? It was just basically like that, but there were 2 of them. You had to get 2 meals, and they were just normal meals.
Yeah, that was one of them. I did get the BTS one. That was good because it came with exclusive Korean nugget sauce.
Right.
All the other ones were just shit from their regular menu.
Yeah.
But you could get the Lauren meal. Which is a Big Mac with extra pickles.
Yes.
And Coke.
She got fries and a Coke.
Fries and a Coke. Now, and then the guy does ask, would you like fries with that or a hot apple pie? You could throw in an apple pie.
You could, yeah.
I think that could be the Lauren meal.
Now, Lauren, I guess, actually gets Coke here because she says pop. She's not from one of those weird southern areas where they say Coke to mean soda.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She does say a Coke. That is the meal. Big Mac, fries, and a Coke.
Now, in episode 1 or maybe 0, we asked which one of the Animorphs is the incel. It's this guy. This is the incel from Animorphs.
This guy really, he's a beta Bobby.
It feels so bad for this guy in real life.
Well, this is when we just learned that Lauren is like a cool, popular girl, and she just treats this guy like this is her Gunther to her Rachel.
This is the Gunther to her Rachel. Yeah, I don't know if she treats him bad, but she certainly does not think anything of this guy.
Yeah, no, this is us.
Yeah. This is also the section. This is kind of moving on from the McDonald's.
Just want to say the meal cost $4.19.
Right. This is what they took from you, people.
We got to go back.
We do.
Thanks, Biden.
Return with the V to $4.19 McDonald's meals.
Oh, what's with the V?
It's like a right-wing online thing.
Okay.
It signifies that I'm being a bigot.
I didn't know about that because I'm not part of that scene.
Okay. Well... Yeah. I'm being ironic for all the listeners out there.
I also
you were worried.
Like that Elfangor. Well, let's keep it vague in case we want people on both sides to listen.
I'm about to blow that apart.
But I do like that Elfangor is like horrified by what a Big Mac is.
Oh yeah.
This is rightfully so.
Yeah.
And I like his description of French fries as 2-inch long pale yellow sticks.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of good McDonald's bits here.
That's true.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm glad they went to this McDonald's.
Me too. We're going there after this.
We find out at some point around here-ish, I don't know why I have it in this section, but we find out a little bit more about Andalite culture and history.
Glad, yeah, I was going to...
Yeah.
Exactly the same thing where I had a note and didn't remember when it came up.
Beautiful. But they have, long ago they lived in massive roaming herds, we find out. And we find out they had cities for a while when they were at our level of civilization, but society was all fucked up and people weren't happy. So they tore down their cities and they divided up all the land between the families, and everybody got their own like farm, and it's all divided up equally, and they divided all the labor. So now instead of massive factories, every family makes like a small part, and they live in harmony with nature now. Now, this is literally communism. Like, this is literally, the government stepped in and said, we're done with these cities, we're tearing down all of civilization, and we are dividing up the land between the families, and how are we going to keep those divisions, like, neat and normal? Well, we're going to police how many kids you can have to make sure that the division here, all the labor, you know, and the labor for the parts also doesn't seem to be, like, their primary identity. It's like, my family makes these parts for a ship, but really we're scientists or artists or warriors or whatever. Like, this is like utopian space communism. You get some gay Andalites, it's gay space communism, right? It's just not fully automated is the only thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I just here's a little behind the scenes, and just to tell you in my notes, which I didn't remember, I don't remember, but I just wrote down this McDonald's worker is a beta Bobby.
Yep, good.
That was that was everything else we said about McDonald's was just off the dome,
right?
So that was my one note for that section.
You want to take a break and go get some McDonald's?
Yes.
Okay, let's
fucking yes. And my next, we're back.
We're back.
My next. No, was Andalites are fucking commies.
Yeah.
And that's just so that's it is kind of wild that this is how explicit that is.
Yeah, like they just
have a utopian communist society.
Yeah, it's funny because all the communist elements of their society are very much depicted as utopian. Like, there's no attempt to go in there and be all like, I'm an American writer and I don't like that all the parts that she criticizes, about her society are more akin to American militarism. I guess it's not that. No, it's uniquely American. Like, this does not feel like Soviet imperialism to me. That has its own distinct flavor. This feels like American imperialism, the way the Andalites do it.
Right.
Like, I do like this.
They're communists with space cops.
The communist part is good and the space cop is bad.
It is a strange
it's pretty left
juxtaposition.
The way that she does them here.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'm in favor.
Yeah, it's a good society, and it's
except when it's not.
Except for, right. Well, it seems like maybe the home world is like a utopia, but then they have another wing that's the like space force that sort of operates under their own jurisdiction. Yeah,
it's hard to say because it almost feels like if you're in the home world, you're in the imperial core, right? Like, it's like it's like American suburbia saying like that's a utopia or something, and it kind of is because you don't have to deal with any of the negative aspects, but like, it can't exist without all the negative aspects. So I'm not sure what I want to think about the Andalite homeworld as a whole. Like, is everybody like Elfangor's family? Is that really an accurate depiction, or is that just what he thinks because that's, he doesn't have to deal with the Andalites who got the shit end of the stick? Or maybe there are none. Maybe it's just other races who did. I don't know.
These are a lot of questions.
There are a lot of
deep questions.
Yeah.
That we don't have answers to.
Yeah, I wish we spent more time on the Andalite homeworld so I could...
I wish it had a name.
Yeah. Like, are they just fucking up the Hork-Bajir or what? And the Yerks and everybody?
Yeah. It's interesting, though. They're a complicated race.
Yeah.
They have lots of good and bad aspects, just like us.
Everything this fucking lady writes is complicated. There's not a single simple part of these books.
Yeah, I mean, wait till we get into the one and only Ivan.
Yeah, oh yeah. Or what was the doggy woggies?
No, it wasn't Doggy Woggies, Poochie Woochies.
No.
Doggo and Pupper.
Doggo and Pupper. That's it.
They took the one and only Ivan off Disney Plus.
Wow.
The movie
That's
version.
sad.
Not the book. Because they don't have books on Disney Plus.
We don't have time.
Yeah, and this is, who knows, streaming in a year, no one will know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, you're right.
They'll be like, Disney Plus, that's just what we call TV now.
Or piracy will be back.
It's back.
It is back.
It's back. In pod
it's
form.
HBO's fault.
You mean
Specifically.
Max?
Max's fault. Good old Max. Are we
getting to...
Can we...
Yeah.
They're going toward the center of this universe, the center of the hyper spiral.
Yeah.
So as they get closer and closer, time starts speeding up. And like Lauren's hair and fingernails are growing at an alarming rate. Elfangor's hooves are growing so fast he's like getting clumsy as he walks. And as they get closer, there's no longer distinct borders between all the different zones. They're just all blending together, right? And things even sound weird and distorted. When they get toward the center, they see that at that center, everything comes together in this vortex. Like a giant tornado made not of air, but like of the fabric of reality. And all of reality and space are blending and swirling together at some insane speed. And that's where the time matrix is, in that vortex. So they jump into the vortex, and on the other side there is this blank, featureless area about 100 feet across. The time matrix is in the center of it. Visser 32 is also there. He has made it as well, and he proposes that they work together again. But Elfangor's like, no, we would just make another fucked up universe, but this time we'd all bring armies and weapons and shit. Lauren's like, I think he's just fucking scared of you. And Alaran's like, or not Alaran, but Visser 32 is like, and he sends his Mortrons to attack them. There's a big fight again, they're like hitting the Mortrons with like bats and knocking him out with his tail. There's a scene where Lauren's like choking a Mortron out and her fingernails grow into its neck. Visser 32 backs off. They beat the Mortrons, Visser 32 backs off, and we learn that when this world is collapsed, he'll be back where he started on the Jahar, falling into the black hole. So that's right. He's backing off for now, but he'll be back. I'll get out of this one, you'll see, and I'll be back again next time. Whatever. He backs off, so now they got their time matrix here.
You're really covering a lot of things.
I am covering a lot of things.
There's a lot.
There's a bit at the very end of this chapter. I'm just going to let you know. I'm going to put that in the next part because that needs its own focus.
Sure.
I know you know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's cover this part here.
Well, first, I mean, I like how Elfangor, when they're about to run to the swirl, the time swirl
vortex.
What do they call that?
They call it a vortex.
Okay.
Yeah.
They also do call it a swirl.
I think they call it you're right. They called a lot of things.
But it had a more official name, I thought. Like
the shimmer. Like from Annihilation.
All right. Yeah, sure. But I like that he suggests that he's like, we wouldn't be able to move faster if you climb on my back as you did before. Mm-hmm. And Lauren says, I guess we would. I feel like Elfangor's like, hey, I don't know, just maybe like as a joke.
Yeah,
it'd be funny if you did that again, right? That was cool, right?
Yeah.
It was your idea before. I thought you liked it.
Come sit on Santa's lap.
It's just efficient this way if you're just on my back.
Yeah. You think he's like bouncing around there?
I think he is. But okay, so then we get into, as you said, yes, the rapid aging.
Yes. The fingernails coming out like multiple inches long. Lauren's hair is on the ground.
Which I guess Andalites don't. I guess that makes sense. Like they don't have like a mane or something like a horse. They just have fur. So they don't.
I mean, it's not like dogs don't get shaggy.
Yeah, it's true. Shaggy? You'd think it would grow a little or something, but they don't have barbers or groomers on.
Yeah, I mean, he trims his own hooves with his tail, so in theory, he could trim.
I was wondering about that. Yeah, does he? Is that how they trim their hooves?
He says that he trimmed them with his tail, but they're just like growing right back again.
Right, so. That's the hoof problem.
Yeah.
He'd make a good barber though at Andalite because he cuts Lauren's hair for her.
Yeah, just right off the top.
So that's cool. Yeah, all this stuff is weird. The thing you said about her nails growing
right,
straight through a Mortron is like horrific.
A little fucked up.
It's absurd. I am wondering. I think this is the question most people want to hear, and this is the question that I'm gonna say. I know there's a lot of Animorphs podcasts out there, but I feel like we're maybe the only one that are brave enough to address this.
Okay, let's address.
Well, I don't know. It's not even. Maybe it's not what you're thinking of.
Well, I want to hear your bravery,
but it's something else.
Yes, please.
Do we think that?
You seem scared. Be brave, John.
Do we think that Lauren during this time is just having like every 10 or 15 minutes like micro periods? Because if her fingernails are growing, her hair is growing, she's past puberty, right? She's like, so every just like whatever the equivalent right now. I don't know if like a minute is like a day or something right now.
But like it wouldn't have time to like drain out, so she'd be all gummed up in there.
But do we think that like when it happens, is it like the normal amount? At once?
I think it's full up in there, yeah.
Or it could
like
just
layer
be like
on layer stacking up in there.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I mean, yeah. What's good is that we are two men,
right?
To speculate upon this. So anyway, I was just wondering that. So that must be that's
I'm
must
just
be uncomfortable.
Thinking all of that lining doesn't have time to properly slough off. So I'm just looking for excuses to use words like maybe it's congealing in there. How many words can I use here?
Yucky, icky, no. So that was I was wondering that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you wondered. It didn't occur to me. Me being the problematic cis white.
Right. I'm a feminist.
Right.
And
so it occurred to you.
Thinking about women's issues. And I know that women have to deal with their periods, and I'm sensitive to that.
Yeah, I'm glad we brought it up. We are the only podcast brave enough to discuss this.
Yeah. We're the only truly feminist Animorphs podcast.
This is the benchmark you have to hit.
Yeah. Yeah. I
feel like I want to. If you have more to say about this, I feel like I want to say my thing instead.
Well, I just had one other really stupid note that had nothing to do with the time changing stuff.
Oh, okay. I just meant like that particular topic.
No, on that topic, that's pretty much all I had. I mean, I'm
finished too.
I like that they refer to he wants to get into a tail fight with Visser Three.
Yeah.
Which,
it's like a fist fight.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing I came to understand. It's like a fist fight, but you could also just say fight.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you could.
Do they have another kind of fight, Andalites?
It's like a firefight with shredders.
Right.
I don't know.
It's kind of redundant. But fist fight is kind of redundant, too.
Yeah.
You can just say a fight. It's not like, is it assumed you have weapons
you're not
otherwise?
necessarily using your fist. You could be wrestling.
I guess we also say like knife fight, gun fight. Yeah. I guess you can say that.
Andalites don't really knife them.
No, they never invented knives because they just eat with grass. They never needed a knife for anything.
Yeah. My only thing left here was that I'm looking at this splintered, fractured world that gets more and more out of touch with the flow of time as you get toward the center. It's got a massive towering vortex in the middle. This is my Dark Tower reference of the podcast. This is the one that I earmarked a little. This is like the dark, like mid-world at the tower.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is a little bit.
Just wanted to make sure that I said that.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to... not. I think we already covered that multiple times this podcast, but just in case I have that in here.
Whether a tower be dark or seventh, we're fans of it on this show.
Yeah, I'm all about them towers.
Twin.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Never. You're talking about the two towers of Isengard and Orthanc and Isengard and Barad-dûr, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Space Needle.
Yeah.
And Eiffel.
Yeah. So, so they've got the time matrix. Elfangor doesn't want to undo time because he doesn't know what'll happen. He doesn't want to give the time matrix to the Andalites after all the Alaran shit. So he figures he and Lauren will go back to Earth and just hide it there again. And they'll go back a week so no one knows Lauren was missing. But there's a problem with this plan, and I am going to read the problem verbatim
Okay.
from the book.
Good.
Lauren says, "There's one more problem. This me has aged. I'm older. I must be almost 18 now, judging from the way I've grown. People would notice." And Elfangor says, "Yes, but imagine they don't. Imagine that you are 18 and that everyone who has ever known you expects you to be 18. So, all you fanfic writers out there, Kay Applegate has given you the go-ahead on this. This is kind of fucked up, right?
It really does feel like the fanfic writer's way out. They're just...
Right. But, Lauren is, I don't know how, she's 15, 16, 14, whatever, somewhere in that range maybe. It's not like she actually developed through those years. She didn't have those experiences.
Right.
She's just physically 18 now.
That's all that matters. That's why, is it problematic in Big when Tom Hanks fucks a lady? Well, but he's a child.
But that's Tom Hanks.
Sure. Actually, do they actually have sex in that movie? I don't remember if they do.
I feel like they do.
They definitely make out and shit.
Maybe I just remember it being problematic.
She definitely sleeps over, I think, and it's implied there's some sexy stuff, but I don't think they actually have sex.
Yeah, well, they do in this book. In this book, they do have sex because we cut to 3 years later.
But that's 3 years later. So now she has aged to, even mentally, she's 18.
Okay.
If we assume they waited until...
Right, if we assume. I don't know that I can make that assumption. But
I just want to say, the next part, you'll get into it.
Mm.
But this is when my notes started to be in all caps.
Yeah, I can imagine, because there was a thing you brought up before, and you might have fucking nailed it.
Let's get into it.
I guess that's not revealed just yet, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So they do it, right? They bring him back to Earth a week before all this happened. This stuff still happens, but they go back in time to a week before it happened, land on Earth, before Lauren left. Except that they alter reality so that everyone just expects Lauren to be 18. Because the Time Matrix can just do this.
Yes.
It can just alter reality. They could have fucked up all of reality. They could have just shoved all of reality in all of this if it had figured out what they wanted. Elfangor has also moved to Earth permanently with her. He has performed a Frolus maneuver and taken on a human morph and trapped himself in that morph. He is a Nothlit. He has taken the name Elfangor, which he says is great because everyone calls him Elfangor. And, he went through college and grad school. He took him 3 years to get through all of higher education, and he started working in computers in the 80s, with his friends Bill and Steve. and he and Lauren got married. Lauren, so this is where we are, right? Lauren has just kind of skipped several of her developmental years and is now living as an adult with Elfangor, who has abandoned the war to live a quiet, peaceful human life.
The Time Matrix just made it so she was developed to 18.
I get
it can do anything.
It fixed it. But it feels like they only changed the world. The way they write it, it feels like she's like this. The person I am now looks 18, so I need to go to a world that thinks I'm 18. So we just change it.
It's a lot of things happen here.
A lot of fucking...
Is this now, okay, of course Axe also performed a Frolus maneuver.
Yes, he didn't call it that, but this is where we find out what it is called. I called it that in the podcast.
Okay. So now we know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Everyone loves Frolus maneuvers.
And this the beginning of this chapter here, that section in particular is when I started freaking out. But I'll table that for a little bit.
Okay.
But then I was still freaking out.
Yeah.
Because, I'm still wondering, I know how Animorphs begins.
Right.
I know that Elfangor wasn't just an accountant or whatever the fuck on living in
the guy who invented
Glenwood
Windows
or
and
wherever.
Apple.
Yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And then also I'm like, there's an entire series here about him living on Earth.
Yeah.
That's now we're at over 90% of the way through this book.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
Yeah. Through part 3, we're over 90% of the way through. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is just, my mind is twisting and turning like it's been time matrixed.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah. It's fucking bonkers.
It's it's an insane thing to occur, but I'm excited about it. And I did that part you mentioned where he says he worked with his friend Bill, who everything had to be explained in simple human terms using words like window. And his friend Steve, who thought it was a huge breakthrough to use symbolic icons and a simple pointer. I mean, I was really laughing really hard.
It's extremely good.
I cracked up for 10. I couldn't keep reading.
Back in the 80s, our computers, they were huge machines.
The fucking audacity to make it that Elfangor is responsible for Apple and Windows, that he's like the architect of all modern technology on Earth. It's so funny.
Yeah, you thought it was bad when Axe accidentally developed a computer. Elfangor just gave us computing.
It's like, what did Marty McFly do? You invented fucking rock and roll?
Are we going to find out that Cyril was friends with Turing? Is that what we're going to...
Yours references were too nerdy. Mine was cooler.
Yeah. You're right.
But I mean, I was on a goddamn roller coaster this chapter. Yeah. I was cracking up. Good. My mind was being blown.
There was a time in this book where you were riffing on Elfangor's name. I think you came up with like just calling him like Alf or something, but you were so close, and it was everything in my power not to be like, or you could call him like Elfangor. It was like, no,
that is the funniest shit.
So fucking close.
I would like if he was just Elfangor.
Elfangor. If this was a TV show about his time on Earth, it would be a lot like Alf because he'd have to learn to fit into human. It's like when Alf puts on the thing or whatever. What the fuck is his like coat or some shit?
What? Alf puts on a coat?
Sometimes people think Alf's a person because he puts on like a thing and they're like, oh, that's that weird guy.
I don't remember.
Right? Didn't he do this?
We'll save it for the Alf podcast.
Yeah, when we do that's our next podcast.
Now. Okay, so I mean, do we talk about the relationship here, or are we about to talk about that?
I mean, I don't know what
between Lauren and Elfangor.
I mean,
specifically, they get married.
Yeah, they get married. They get married and live together. That's what we know at this point. I mean, we can talk about. We might as well talk about the thing that's about to happen here, because Elfangor doesn't know it until after the next part, so we don't know it till after the next part. But I think we should just bring it up here.
Okay.
Which is that. So, Lauren is going to have a kid, and this kid. You were right, John. This kid is Tobias. Lauren and Elfangor are Tobias's parents.
I fucking.
You said it.
Part 1.
You said it in part 1.
Said it. Now, to be fair, it is kind of true that I guess theoretically somewhere in my brain as a child, I believe I read this book.
I know you owned it,
but I truly had no. So if I had that memory, then it was entirely subconscious. Like I truly did not know.
Yeah,
that was just my. And I really thought it was crazy, but like I just had a feeling about it. And I wanted it to be true, I think, too.
Yeah.
And the more we got into it, I like reading this part, I was like, I kept thinking about it, like, how is this going to work? Because she's still a child. And then she started aging. And I was like, okay.
Uh-oh.
And then they're on Earth, and he's like, as soon as he's like, I did the Frolus maneuver, I was like, whoa! Everything in my brain was lighting up.
Yeah, they're fucking married.
Like, holy shit!
Yeah.
They're fucking doing it!
Now, I will say, this does lead to, because, you know, we have this whole... I think you can give her some credit, right? Because, you know, as fucked up as this Lauren thing is, there is a part of it... Shut the fuck up. As much as this... like we have this Lauren thing here, there is, to some extent, it's not exactly glamorized, right? Because we know that Lauren, on some level, must get fucked up by this whole thing, because at some point she's going to abandon Tobias. Right. Like this does not end happily. This didn't end well for her. We know that. Even though we won't, like, we will see, we're not going to follow her too much longer than this. But we know it doesn't end happy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We know it doesn't end happy for Tobias.
Yeah.
Maybe Lauren went off to the Caribbean and is living a life of luxury. I don't know.
I don't know that I would call that like an emotionally healthy
She was like, fuck kids.
thing to do here.
Don't fuck kids, guys.
Yeah.
Unless you're Elfangor and they age rapidly.
Yeah.
Then go nuts.
I guess.
Anyway.
But yeah, one day Elfangor comes home, right? Mm-hmm. And he finds a man in his living room. Just like there's just a guy standing in his house. And he's like, what the hell are you doing here? And the guy goes, what are you doing here, Elfangor Serenial Shamtool? It's the Elamist. Mm-hmm. He's here. Mm-hmm. He showed up to talk to him. And he says, you know, he tells him that Visser 32 is now Visser 3, so I can start calling him that now. You know, Visser 3 is now a terrible enemy to the Andalites, and, you know, the first York scouts are in orbit above Earth right now. You know, everything's fucked up. The Yorks are going to win because Elfangor is not where he should be. He was supposed to be a great warrior, and he wasn't because he fucked with the timeline, and he's here on Earth. And he says, I'm here to put things right. I'm here to put you back where you're supposed to be and erase Lauren's memory and repair the timeline so that everything is as it should be. And Elfangor doesn't want to do it, but he agrees to anyway because otherwise the humans are all going to get enslaved, right? Everyone's going to lose. The Andalites are going to lose, whatever. So he's got to do it. So Elfangor says, all right, fine, put me back, I guess, to save Lauren. And as he's tumbling through Elamist space to his proper place, he can see all the lines of space-time moving and converging, which is where he learns that he has a son. Lauren is pregnant. And he's like, fuck you, Elamist. I never would have done it if you'd told me, but it's too late now. So before he returns to reality, importantly, he asks to the Elamist, is this all just a game to you? And the Elamist responds, yes, but we are not the only great powers of the galaxy. There is another, older even than we, and he plays a dark game, Andalite. It is with him that we play. So hope that we win, Elfangor Serenial Shamtool. Hope that we win. So I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
The fucking Elamist guy, he's, quote, repairing the timeline, unquote. But, like, Lauren still has a kid by Elfangor. And Tobias still got born, which is impossible. And Elfangor still gave us all computers. Right. He didn't fucking repair shit. Right. This is his same bullshit cheater shit that he always does, where it's like, I don't know what I just left a time matrix line. I hid it so that nobody would find it and use it. Not my fault. They happened to use it to do all the stuff. I'm not interfering. I'm just going to put it back how it should be. Not my fault. Don't do anything. This is his same shit that he always does.
Well, and to be clear, we don't need to get into the weeds on this.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this before every episode.
Yeah, and yeah.
But this is the same Ellimist.
In some sense, it is the same Ellimist. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's an asshole. I mean, I all of this confused me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I like, what is... I guess what you're saying, the answer is just the Ellimist is just a dick and he just does what he wants. But it's like, what is the proper timeline? He doesn't actually rewrite history, like you're saying, because also when Elfangor is returned to the ship,
mm-hmm.
I assumed what he was going to do was undo everything.
Yeah.
And like, oh, Elfangor was there the whole time. But they're like, oh, you've been missing for 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, so Axe just grew up and didn't know where his brother was or something? How does he explain that?
Yeah, I don't know. Elfangor's off being a hero for a lot. It's hard to... I can't tell if he put him back in time at all, or if he just...
Yeah, it seems like he just popped him right up there right now.
Yeah, it seems like he just pops him right back in.
And I was even more confused because I was like, oh, is this... I thought he was just going to put him like right at the first book. But no, there's years between.
No, because if he did that, he actually would have fixed the timeline and not interfered. And the whole point is that he's trying to interfere while, being able to say with his little shit-eating grin that he's not. That's the whole point. That's the whole book, is the Ellimist wanted to do this. And he wanted to do it, it's pretty explicitly stated here, he did this specifically to create the Animorphs. Like, Elfangor sees the Animorphs, like, coming together, and he realizes, like, that's the point. That's what this is all about, is he's trying to make that happen.
Yeah. Everything leads to Animorphs.
Yeah, he wants Animorphs.
Now, do Ellimists have time matrix powers inherently within themselves?
Sort of? Kind of? I guess? I don't know. It's like a weird...
Well, then the question is, why did they invent the time matrix if they can just do that already?
Well, they didn't always have this level. Like, remember, they were advanced many, many millennia beyond Andalites when all of a sudden they popped out of existence and nobody knew what happened.
Okay.
So, like, the time matrix may have gotten made at that point. Or maybe the Ellimist made a time matrix not to be used, just to have around, don't worry about it. I'm just making one. I'm going to hide it so that it won't ever get used. And then 1,000,000 years later, oh, I never saw this coming. I didn't know.
Yeah. I was also wondering if maybe they have like a little mini time matrix, like an iPhone just in their pocket. They just pull it out and they're like, let me just rewrite history.
Yeah, maybe that's what
I downloaded the Rewrite History app.
They do describe the Ellimist a little bit more ambiguously in this. Like Elfangor like sees the Ellimist. He says it's like his true form. He's like one giant, like unified power, like one huge. It is a little bit more ambiguous. Where like the Ellimist in human form talks like there's a lot of him. He'll be like, yeah, us Ellimists and everything. But then when he sees the singular thing, it's like he's described. To quote it, they describe him as being alone, but not the only one of his kind. Unquote. So it's I don't know.
A lot of questions about these Ellimists, as always.
Yeah, it does seem like this one unified power is all the Ellimists.
But the Ellimist literally refers to the race of Ellimists.
Yeah, he still calls himself we and talks about the race of Ellimists, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a race of Ellimists. They just weren't called Ellimists. It gets really weird. We will find out. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm worried about it, but I'll hold off on that. Now, and then there's the Chapman we haven't discussed either.
Oh yeah, so Chapman was already back on Earth even before the Ellimist repaired the timeline. He just was here when they did the time matrix, even though they didn't do that.
And he has no memory of this before. Right? Like before
he has
the
no
Ellimist.
memory. He doesn't remember leaving at all.
And we don't. I was like, is it another version of him? Is it the same Chapman? Like when they eventually put a Yerk in his head, does the Yerk? They don't get any info about this.
Yeah, because
he
doesn't remember it.
Yeah. But so at least that makes a little more sense. Like this, we need to this is our resolution for Chapman, who's been confusing this whole book.
Right.
So at least. I can at least kind of rationalize, okay, I guess Chapman just was kind of a dick just as a kid just because he was. Mm-hmm. And maybe he matured
It could be.
And then he became attached to his family. It still is a bad choice, I think.
I agree,
to make him a villain.
Yeah.
But at least it's not like I was just so confused, wondering how they were going to make this make sense, and at least it sort of works itself out in a way.
Yeah.
That he just doesn't remember.
Yeah, I guess. It's just not.
Makes it also even more pointless.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Chapman. I don't know. I'm with you. I wish he wasn't in the book.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
great.
weird.
Now, just to confuse you even more, I'm gonna read you something from Seropedia here.
Okay.
Elfangor states that his adventures took place 21 years prior to meeting Tobias. Given that Tobias was conceived 3 years after that, there is some confusion as to why or how Tobias is around 13 and not 17 when he met Elfangor. This is because Lauren, who aged from her early teens to 18, was shifted by the Ellimist into her corresponding year. Tobias was conceived around 1980, when Lauren was physically 21. However, because she is actually meant to be 3 or 4 years younger, the Ellimist repaired the timeline and had 21-year-old pregnant Lauren shifted to 1983 or 84, the year she would have turned 21 had she not used the time matrix. Tobias was then born in 1984 and thus was 13 when he met Elfangor in 1997. How do you feel about that?
What?
What do you think about that?
I don't even know if that math adds up, what you just said. But it is slightly troubling. Even 21 is too young to have a kid, in my opinion. Yeah. I know a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Christ. But it sounds like she was...
It's because you're all old and
some ways even younger. Am I misinterpreting that? Like she was only like 19 actually when she had a kid or something?
I mean, she would have been 18 because she was.
And then it was 3 years later she would have been 21.
Yeah, I guess they advanced her 3 or 4 years, they said. So
none of that makes any fucking sense.
Yeah, when the Ellimist repaired the timeline, he didn't leave her where he left her. He shifted all that shit that happened into the future where it would have been had they not shifted themselves back. Like, it just doesn't... Again, the Ellimist is not fucking fixing any timeline here. He's doing whatever he wants and pretending he's fixing
But whatever you just read, someone just made that up, right?
I mean, it's got... But, like...
It could make... But, like, the books don't say that. Someone just had to figure out how this works.
I guess they had to figure that out. But it does add up that if Lauren... Yeah, it does add up that if Lauren had Tobias 3 years later than it says she did, that he would have been the right age, meaning that must be the answer because he shifted her.
Yeah, great. We got it totally figured out.
Yeah,
everybody gets it. We all get it.
Yeah. The point is, none of it makes sense. None of it works out.
And also. Lauren got remarried.
Did she?
I thought it was at least implied. No, yeah, he says something in there. let me find Ellimist talk. He says the child will be raised as the son of another.
That's interesting. I was just thinking he was being raised by his aunt and uncle here.
Huh. But Lauren never knew Elfangor, so she has to think somebody got her pregnant.
Yeah. No, she has no fucking...
She's not the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, this is her immaculate conception. That's part of why she's so fucked up, maybe.
I assumed he just paired her up with whoever she normally... The fucking McDonald's guy. and it's not actually his genes or his DNA, but they're just like, yeah, I gave her a fucking dad.
Maybe.
Maybe that's why they broke up and Tobias has a shitty life because his dad's a McDonald's nerd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But Elfangor still did all the shit he did on Earth.
Yes. He did. He did. I don't know. None of it makes sense.
A literal wizard did it.
Yeah, a wizard who's just an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Who I also love that he criticizes Elfangor for screwing up with the timeline. I'm like, that's literally your entire MO, dude.
Well,
that's all you do.
The fact that Elfangor screwed up the timeline was what he wanted. He did this. He left that time matrix there so that Elfangor would screw it up. He only told him off to make himself look innocent. I guarantee you the time matrix only existed there so that Elfangor could fuck up the timeline.
Yeah, okay, let's get to the end.
Yeah, so Elfangor's brought back to reality, right? He's in a pivotal battle with Yerks versus Starsword. Yerks are like about to win, but Elfangor does the Holdo maneuver. This is where I have the Last Jedi. He does the Holdo maneuver into the blade ship and staves them off long enough for a second dome ship, the Tailstrike, which is a bad name in my opinion, to show up and save the day.
Do you think it's a better or worse name than the other one?
Tailstrike is such a bad name for a ship. Starsword at least has star.
Oh, Galaxy Tree.
Oh, Galaxy. I like Galaxy Tree. I think that's the best dome
They're
name.
Consistent with their naming method, at least.
Yeah, it's 2 words and you take out the space. And the lights have spaces. But
well, there's enough space around the ship. Why do you need it in it?
Bam. Yeah, we might call it a zero space name. Yeah, Elfangor's
a hero. Win an award.
Thank you. But Elfangor's a hero now. He did it. Yay, he's a full warrior like he always wanted to be, but it's like bittersweet because he had to leave behind his Earth life. So he has his full career. Skip past that. Years later, he returns to Earth and in the dome ship Galaxy Tree, and you know the rest of the story. It's shot down. What you didn't know is that the reason Elfangor landed in that construction site is because that's where he hid the time matrix, and he was looking to use it again in his dying moments. But it was too late, and he was too weak. So he meets the morphs, the good old morphers. He meets Tobias and recognizes him as his son. And that is the end of Elfangor's Hirak Delest. And he leaves a final message to the peoples of the galaxy, hope, with 2 dots at the end.
Yours only has 2?
Mine only has 2.
Mine has 3.
I'll show you.
Or maybe it's hope, period.
Oh, no, it is 3. Damn. Okay, I'm stupid. Good, They did it right.
Yeah, thank God.
Let me change my notes here. There we go. Beautiful.
So, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that this really is a full circle. I think I've referenced Futurama before. It's that they do a similar thing where you go back to the first thing and you're like, oh, there was no, I mean, I guess probably almost every time travel story does this.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, now there's much more meaning to that first spot.
Yeah.
There's a time matrix under there.
There's literally a time matrix right smack in the middle of their city. That
Nobody knows.
At any time.
Yeah.
Visser 3 even knows what it is and has used it before.
Does he know does he still know? Does he remember it?
Yeah.
I don't know who remembers what.
That's a good, unless the Elmist fixed it, he popped back into real space at that black hole and had to find another way to escape.
So he did experience all that stuff.
I believe he did. Oh, no, he definitely did because Elfangor... the hero scene, he shows up and he's like, put Visser 3 on. It's Elfangor. He knows me.
Yeah. Of course. That's why they have the grudge against each other.
Right.
And there is a part here where we also get to find out what he says to Tobias because in the first. So I mean, this is another question. Did she know this shit when she wrote the first book?
There's no fucking way she knew this. There's no way.
Because there is a part where I think that, Tobias and him talk and you don't hear what they say.
Yeah.
And they say they have like a connection that you didn't know about.
Yeah, they do say all that.
So. And maybe she could have had some idea.
She could have had an idea. I think she was just using that for exposition, because Tobias can then come later and say, "Oh yeah, he also told me all this stuff," or whatever. And that might have been her hedging her bets for future books, right? Where she can be like, "Oh,
I'll figure that out."
Yeah, I'll figure that out, and Tobias will just know it because Elfangor told him or something.
And we now know that this means Axe is Tobias's uncle.
It does mean that Axe is Tobias's uncle. That is true.
Which adds more to the fact that they are kind of buds who hang out all the time.
Yeah, his Shorm.
They're the same age.
Uncle Shorm.
Or like he's a few years older maybe and he's his uncle, which I guess could happen.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens all the time. I've got nephews, or not. Yeah, I've got nephews and nieces my age.
I got
Yeah.
hoes and different area codes.
Because my mom is like 15 years younger than her oldest sibling. So, or some shit.
I'm my own grandpa.
Yeah. There you go.
And Tobias does say during this little scene, he says that his mom left and she never got over my father. So maybe she didn't have another husband or something. 'Cause he doesn't like mention his dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, he does. She never got over my father. That could be Elfangor, or I don't know what that means.
I always just assumed that was Elfangor. Like,
but she doesn't remember
but she doesn't
him.
Remember him.
So there had
maybe
to be
she
another
just doesn't
guy.
remember that he was an Andalite.
Maybe
she remembers Alan Fangor.
maybe that could be what it is.
Yeah,
I could see that. Because there was an Alan Fangor. Obviously, he was buds with Bill Gates.
Yeah.
So he just left or something, or he died. Maybe they just made it so he died. Died or something,
or disappeared.
Yeah, don't know.
Ran away.
I mean, okay, but I have final thoughts, but I don't know if you have any other.
One thing before we get to final thoughts, I just want to say, what by all the bloody tales of Krangar are you doing here? That's what the captain of the.
I'm glad you said that.
Says to Elfangor when he shows up. All right, final thoughts.
I do. I want to do pop culture just because it's so fast.
Yeah, there's not much.
They mentioned the Mustang again.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's a lot of McDonald's, as well as Mickey. They also call it Mickey D's, which I don't know how long back Mickey D's was happening, but
yeah, no,
it was happening. And I counted Bill and Steve.
Yep,
that was it.
Yeah, with Windows, I guess, if that counts.
But okay, so this book. I feel like this book has a reputation of kind of being like one of the best parts of the series.
100%, yeah.
And it is. I mean, I really loved part 3.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that I think this was the second book, or maybe second or third book, maybe that at the end I got a little teary eyed.
Aww.
I did.
That's sweet.
Fuck you. Go fuck yourself.
You're a sweet
Shut
boy.
the fuck up.
You're very
I'm
cute.
gonna fucking beat you, bitch. I got a little emotional. It was not even, well, I mean, it was, it's sad. The fact that she doesn't, that kind of thing gets to me.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminded me of 3,000 Years of Longing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say Buffy and Angel because I always bring up Buffy, and Joss Whedon's a little too problematic. Right. But there's some of that here too. There's always this like the star-crossed lovers who, especially, I feel like this is a thing in at least a few sci-fi fantasy or like even Eternal Sunshine. Just the thing where it's like when you don't remember like the relation, the connection they had. That like hits me for some reason. That's a powerful emotional thing that in storytelling that
I feel
that gets to me. So that was sense. And the fact that I could have that emotional reaction in this book minutes after my buddies, I'm Alan Fangor and I'm friends with Bill and Steve.
Right.
That is remarkable.
Yeah.
There's something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what that's exemplary of, but it's some kind of skill or talent that this book can be this fucking ridiculous and still elicit an emotional response.
100%. I think for me, this is my third favorite book in the series. It is almost certainly, it's got to be better than any non-Chronicles book.
Wow.
It's really good, I think. And I do 100% agree with you. There's just so much stuff in here that's so memorable. And there's so much of it. It's just all...
Yes, it is dense.
It's all so crazy. Like, we're spending fucking 6-7 hours talking about this shit. And like, really... Every little thing we bring up is just like, if we didn't talk about it, you'd have people remembering it and being like, but what about the Hoobers? Maybe not the Hoobers, but
yeah, the Gariba.
Yeah, people like legit. If
the tree, the living, or not the tree, the living,
the
mountain
hive.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes, there's a million things that could spawn an entire book to themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do we think about the title of these books is what I want to ask you. This book in particular, I mean.
What, just the Andalite Chronicles?
The Andalite Chronicles. Now, I feel like it earns it a little more in part 3 because they do actually give you some of the Andalite backstory.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel like it almost is more like Elfangor's Chronicles. It's not like really the history of the Andalites or something.
The Chronicles of this Andalite.
Yeah, right.
The Andalite, the one you know.
I would forgive it more if this weren't the first. I understand if it was like, we already did the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, so we not got to have it be uniform.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And that does that's going to get mitigated a little bit because the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, while being an individual story, like they're about a pivotal moment in Hork-Bajir history, so it's fine. The Ellimist Chronicles are like legitimately chronicles so that you understand what's going on. And then Visser does not have the word chronicles in it. It's just Visser. It's considered a chronicles, but it's just called Visser.
Yeah, so, that's all right. I don't know what I would have... I guess I would have called it Elfangor. No, I don't know about Elf. Yeah. I mean, the Andalite Chronicles is just a good title. Yeah. But maybe it just should be called Elfangor's Journey or Hirak de l'Est or something.
God, if her publishers had the same balls that she has, they would have called it Hirak de l'Est. I guarantee. This seems like she probably was like, "Can I call it Hirak de l'Est?" And they were like, "No, you can't. You've done too much."
I can't even imagine.
Even just the cover of this book. Like, this is insane. There's a fucking Andalite. If you don't know what an Andalite is, you're looking at this like, what the hell is that?
It does look like the most, 70s sci-fi, batshit, weird shit.
It sure is.
What did the publishers or in the editors say? Like when she hands in a draft of this, and they're just like,
I'm
what did they?
Really convinced her editors don't read her shit. Like that's how she gets away with it.
Are we sure she wasn't on coke like Stephen King at this time? And like I don't. How else could she have been pumping these out? I can't rationalize it any other way.
Yeah.
But it is no. I mean, next week is a special week. Mm-hmm. We're doing some kind of a little recap episode.
Yeah.
So don't read a book for next week.
Right. We'll work out the details in the meantime.
But next week I'll maybe talk a little bit more about where I feel for me this book falls right now into my overall perception of the canon.
That's reasonable because that's sort of what it's for, right? We're gonna. Break the series apart into several sections so that we have some time to reflect on it. And I think the best way to do it is just post every Chronicles book. We're going to take a break episode to talk about where we are. And since the Chronicles episodes are all majorly canonically important, I think that lends itself to kind of what you're talking about here.
Great. Well, hey, if everybody listening has thoughts about the Andalite Chronicles, you can go ahead and email us, theyerkyboys@gmail.com. And especially if you have thoughts about any of the first set of books we've talked about so far.
Yeah, any of them.
I'm gonna go out on the internet maybe and ask people for their thoughts for some sharings.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
And we're gonna try to get some of that if you have any sharings on next week's episode.
Smart.
And you can follow us on Twitter @theyerkyboys. Mm-hmm. And you can find me online @Quentz on Twitter. And I have another podcast. It's called Geeks on Trial, where I talk about issues that some nerds have, and you'll want to listen to.
Mm-hmm, you will. You can follow me on Twitter @DogTimesMcGee. Thanks everyone for listening. Tune in next time when we'll be doing this recap episode in which we'll be talking about our thoughts on the series as a whole up to this point on The Yerky Boys.
That's the most succinct way you could have said that, but